Good afternoon everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the computer organization subject unit 3. So coming to the topic, in previous video classes we have discussed about the first part of the unit 3, and in the second video we have discussed about the addition and subtractions, divisions of the division algorithms. Okay, so now I am going to discuss about the hardware implementations for signed magnitude data. Okay, so in hardware implementation for signed magnitude data in a digital computer, it is a convenient to change the process slightly. So in the hardware implementation, we are using for signed magnitude data in a digital computer. So in the digital computer we are using digital computers. Mainly we are having the signed magnitude data, signed magnitude ones complement, signed ones complement, signed twos complement. These are things are there. So mainly we are using in the digital computer, that is signed magnitude data. Okay, so we are implementing through the hardware, so it is convenient to change the process of slightly. So instead of instead of shifting the divisor, divisor to the right, two dividends or partial reminders are shifted to the left. So what we are saying, so instead of shifting in the divisor, in the division problem, so we are shifting the divisor to the right, two dividends or two partial reminders are shifted to the left, thus leaving the two numbers in the required relative position. Okay, so the divisor is stored in the B register, and double length dividend is stored in the register A and Q. Okay, and the dividend is shifted shifted to the left, and divisor is subtracted by the adding its two's complement value E. Okay, so if you see the diagram, hardware implementation of sign diagram, so we can understand. So this is the mn n minus 1, n minus 2, so on, m1 m0. So this is called the divisor. Okay, so here an minus 1, an minus 2, so on, a1 and a0 is the shifting the operations to the we are shifting the operations. Okay, so qn minus 1, qn minus 2, q1, so q0, so on. So this is called the dividend. Okay, so this is this dividend. So what they are saying, so the divisor, so in the this is the hardware implementation, we are using the signed magnitude data in this. So it is in this we are shifting the divisor. Divisor means which one? This is the divisor. So divisor shifting the divisor to the right, so right side, so m0 m side, that side I am shifting the value. So shifting the divisor to the right, and two dividends, this is the dividend, two dividends or two partial reminders. Two partial reminders means what? At the end of that information problem, I will get the some reminder 1 or 0. So that is the reminder. So that partial reminder are shifted at the left. So whatever the reminder, it will be reminder. So if you see the problem, so whenever I am taking the having the 8-bit, so I am taking 4-bit value, and I am going to divide the divisor will be dividend that value. So I will get some reminder. So that reminder will be partially a 0, anything 1 or 0 we can say. So that partial reminders are shifted to the left side. Okay, left side, thus leaving the two numbers in the required relative position. So subtraction is achieved by adding a. To the 2's complement. Okay, 2's complement to B. Okay, and end carry gives the information about the relative magnitude. So the hardware is identical to the multiplication. Register EAQ is now shifted to the left. EAQ is shifted to the register. EAQ is shifted to the right. Shifted to the shifted to the left with a 0 and 0 instead of qn, and so what is here saying, So the hardware required identical multiplications. Register EAQ is now shifted to the left with a 0 instead into Q, inserted into Qn, and the previous value of E is lost. The example is given here. Clear the proposed division process. So this divisor is stored B, this divisor is stored B and B register, and double length dividend is stored in the register A and Q, A and Q coefficient, this is coefficient Q, and the dividend is shifted to the left divisor, and the divisor is subtracted by adding its 2's complement value E. Okay, so this is the working of this diagram, and this is the hardware implementation for signed magnitude data. Okay, and in this algorithm, so I have algorithm, this is the algorithm. So for this algorithm, in this algorithm I have flowchart, dividend operation here. So dividend in AQ, divisor in B. So if I am using the exclusive OR between the coefficient AS and BS, so sequence counter n minus 1, and EA is the register. I am using the A plus 1, B complements plus 1. If it is 1, if E is register E is 1, it will be taken the condition A greater than equal to B, and if it is 0, the A less than B. If it is greater than A greater than equal to B, the condition will be the condition will be register A is equal to A plus B, and DVF is equal to 1. If condition is less than B, A less than B, EA is equal to A plus B, and DVF is 0. Okay, values here dividend overflow is ended here. Okay, so if it is this, if this condition, it will be ended. If it is DEF is, if A greater than equal to B, the EA register will be perform A plus B operation, and DVF is equal to 1, and the dividend will be ended here, overflow will be ended. If the condition is 0, it will be again shift to the EAQ, and again we will take E here. So EA is equal implies A plus B complements plus 1, and A plus B complements 1. Here condition I am taking E, and if it is 1, it will be goes to the this condition A greater than equal to B. If it is 0, A less than B. So again it will be compared here. SC sequence counter SC minus 1, and SC sequence counter is equal to 0 and not equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, coefficient will be remainder in OR. If not equal to 0, again the repetition will be occur. Okay, na? So if if is this if by seeing this flow chart of divide operation, we just assume an example. Whenever we are using division operation, so whenever our remainder is not 0, if I get any value 2 or 3, again I will be add some 0 value at the dividend, and I will be take another 0 there. If 3 is there, I am 30. So again I am multiplying that value to get the 0. Okay, so if it doesn't get another 0, so if it is not equal to 0, again I will repeat the procedure. If it is 0, the condition will be ended there. So this is the example of this algorithm, dividend algorithm. Okay, so next coming to floating point arithmetic operations. Okay, so what is mean by floating point arithmetic operations? So in many high level language high programming languages, we have facility for specifying the floating point numbers. So in every programming high level programming languages like Java, C++, we are using the floating point arithmetic operations. Okay, in many high level programming language, we have facility to use the floating point numbers. High level programming languages must have provision for handling the high level programming languages only have the efficient to handle the floating point arithmetic operations. So the operations are generally arithmetic operations. Most common way in the real declaration statement, high level programming language has handling the floating point arithmetic operations. So these operations are generally built in the internal hardware if the no hardware is available, the compiler must be designed with the package of floating point software subroutines. Okay, all the hardware method is more expensive, so it is much more efficient than the software method. So floating point hardware is included in most computer and is omitted only in very small ones. So this is called floating point arithmetic operations. So in this we have basic considerations. There are two parts of floating point numbers in a computer. One is mantissa m and an exponent e. Okay, one is mantissa, a is mantissa, and another is exponent e. So the two parts represents the number generated from multiplying m times a radix r raised to the value of e. Okay, so the formula is here m is into re, m into re. Mantissa may be fraction or an integer. Okay, mantissa may be a fraction or an integer. The position of the radix point and the value of the radix r are not included in the registers. So whatever the radix point or radix r value I am representing, the positions is not included with the registers. For example, assume a fraction representation and a fraction representation and a radix 10. The decimal number 537.25 is represented in the register with m is equal to 53725 and e is equal to 3, and it is interrupted to represent the floating point number like this 53,725 into 10 power cube. Okay, so this like I am representing. Whenever I represent this like, our value will be after a multiplication our value will be get 537.25. So this is the representation of the decimal number. Okay, so the floating point number is said to be normalized if the most significant digit of the mantissa is non-zero. Okay, and non-zero, and mantissa if the said to be a normalized and non-zero. So the mantissa contains the maximum. The mantissa contains the maximum possible number of significant digits. We cannot normalize a 0 because it does not have a non-zero digit. So it represented in floating point by all zeros in the mantissa and exponent. Okay, so the floating point representation increases the range of numbers for a given register. So we are considering some computer with 48-bit words. One bit must be reserved for a sign. The range of fixed point integer number will be plus 24 power 7 minus 1, which is approximately positive 101 power 4. The 48 bits can be used to represent the floating point number with 36 bits for the mantissa and 12 bits for the exponent. Okay, mantissa is nothing but it is a m, and it has some normal value, and exponential form we are rating like 10 power cube, 10 square, this like that is the exponent e. Okay, mantissa is the value, and that is mantissa is using 36 bits and 12 bits are exponent. Assume that fraction representation for mantissa and taking the two sign bits into the consideration, the range of numbers that can be represented like this. So how we are representing like this 1 minus plus of 1 minus 2 power minus 335 into 2 power 2047. So this like we are representing. So after calculating this, our value will be, this number is derived from the fraction that contains. So after calculating that, the number is derived, the fraction that contains the 35 ones, and exponent of 11 bits, and because 2 power 11 minus 1 is equal to 2047. Okay, so that is why we are mentioning 2 power 2047. Okay, so the largest number that can be accommodated is approximately 10 power 615. The mantissa that can be accommodated is 35 bits excluding the sign, and it considered as an integer. It can store a number as a large number as large as 2 power 35 minus 1. Okay, 35 minus 1, this approximately equal to 10 power 10, which is equivalent to the decimal number of 10 digits. Okay, 10 digits. So the computer which is with a shorter word length uses 2 or more words to represent a floating point number. So an 8-bit microcomputer uses 4 words to represent one floating point number. So one word of 8-bit are reserved for exponent, and 24-bit of other 3 words are used in the mantissa. Okay, in the mantissa. And the arithmetic operations. So what are the arithmetic operations? Arithmetic operations with floating point numbers are more complicated than with fixed point numbers. Their execution also takes longer time and requires more complex hardware. Adding and subtracting two numbers requires first an alignment of the radix point, since the exponent parts must be made equal before adding or subtracting the mantissa. So we do this alignment by shifting the one mantissa while its exponent is adjacent until it becomes equal to their other exponent. So we having some point, that is point 5372400 into 10 square. So plus 158000 into 10 power minus 1. So this this is the one example of the floating point number. So in this floating point multiplication, multiplication and division need not do an alignment of mantissa. Multiplying the two mantissas and adding the exponents can form the product. Dividing the mantissa and subtracting the exponents perform division. So the operation done with the mantissa are same in fixed point number. So the two can share the same registers and circuits. The operations performed with exponents and compared with incremented, added and subtracted and decremented. So we can represent the exponent in any one of the three representations, that is sign magnitudes, sign 2's complement and sign 1's complement. Okay. So biased exponents have the advantage that they contain only the positive numbers. It becomes simpler to compare their relative. They compare their relative magnitude without bothering about their signs. And another advantage is that the smallest possible biased exponent contains all zeros. The floating point representation of a 0 is then 0 mantissa and smallest possible exponent. Okay. So this is the biased exponents. Next, register configuration. Okay. So in this we have advantage, that is we have read now. So the three registers are there, biased exponents. Next one is a sorry ma, here I have written some wrong. This is not biased exponents. We are having the register configuration. So the register configuration for floating point operation is shown here. The rules, the rules, the same register and adder used for fixed point. The same register and adder used the fixed point arithmetic are used for processing the mantissa. The difference lies in the way of exponent are handled. The register organizations for floating point operations. So the three registers are there. There are three registers are there. BR, AC and QR. Each register is subdivided into two parts. So the mantissa part has the same uppercase letter symbols as in the fixed point representation. The exponent part may be considered the lowercase letter symbols. Okay, lowercase letter symbols. So this is the registers for floating point arithmetic operations. So this is the diagram. So in this we are having the we are assuming the floating point. So f is equal to m into r power e. So where m is equal to mantissa, r is equal to radix, e is exponent. Okay. So registers, whenever I will take any value, so for example 256 I will take, m is a 256, mantissa is a 256 into r is the 10 and radix is the 10 and exponent is the 2. This is the example. So registers for floating point arithmetic. Okay, so assume that floating point number has mantissa in signed magnitude representation and biased exponent. So AC here I having the AC here. So AC has the mantissa whose sign is in A's, whose sign is in A's, and here A is there, his sign is A, and the magnitude that is that is in A, magnitude that is in A, and the diagram, in this diagram the significant bit A labeled with A1, A2 this like. So the bit in this position must be 1, and to normalize the number, note that the symbol AC represents the entire register, that is concatenation of A's, concatenation of A's, A and small a. Okay. In the similar way, register BR is subdivided by the B's, capital B and small b, and QR into QS and Q, QS and Q, and small q. A parallel adder can be used for the exponent. The exponents do not have the distinct signs bit because they are biased but represented as a biased positive quantity. If it is assumed that floating point number are so large, the chance of the exponent overflow is very remote, and so the exponent overflow will be neglected. The exponents are also connected to the magnitude comparator. The provider 3 binary outputs to indicate their relative magnitude. So the number in the mantissa will be taken as a fraction. The binary point assumed to reside left to the magnitude part. Integer representation for floating point cause certain scaling problems during the multiplication and division. To avoid these problems, we adapt some fraction representation. The number of registers should be initially normalized. After each arithmetic operations, the result will be normalized. The floating point operands are also normalized. Okay, na? So next coming to addition and subtraction of floating point numbers. Okay, so during the addition and subtraction, the two floating point operands are kept in AC and BR. The sum or difference is formed in the AC. So the algorithm can be divided into 4 consecutive parts, that is check for zeros, align the mantissas, add or subtract the mantissa, normalize the result. Okay, so in a floating point number cannot be normalized if it is 0. If this number is used for a computation, the result may also be 0. Instead of checking for zeros during the normalization process, we check for zeros at the beginning and terminate the process if necessary. Alignment of the mantissa must be the alignment of the mantissa must be carried out prior to their operations. After the mantissa are added or subtracted, the result may be unnormalized. If unnormalized, the normalization procedure results in the normalized before it is transferred. So if the magnitudes were subtracted, there may be 0 or maybe have an underflow in the result. If the mantissa is equal to 0, the entire floating point of AC, the entire floating point of floating point in the AC is clear to 0. Otherwise, the mantissa must have at least 1 bit that is equal to 1. The mantissa has an underflow if most significant bit in position A1 is 0. In this case, mantissa is shifted left and the exponent decremented. So the bit in A1 is checked again and the process is repeated until a1 is equal to 1. When a1 is equal to 1, the mantissa is normalized and the operation is completed. So okay, so this is the addition and subtraction floating point number. So this is the flow chart of the floating point addition and subtraction. So we are starting here. So comparing the exponents of two numbers like a and b, shift the smaller number than the right until its exponent would match the larger exponent. So after that, in the second step, add and subtract the significance according to the sign bits. In the third step, normalizing the sum, either shifting the right and incrementing the exponent, or shifting left and decrementing the exponent. So at the fourth step, round the significant to the appropriate number of bits and normalize, renormalize if rounding generates a carry. So overflow or underflow. If it is overflow, yes. If it is overflow or underflow. If it is overflow or underflow, S means exception will be occurred. If it is no, operation is done here. So this is shift significant right by. So this is the rules we are following in the floating point addition and subtraction. So this is the algorithm like flow chart. This is the add and subtract. So whenever the condition is equal to 0, the condition will be moves to the end. So if condition is not equals to 0, it will be perform some operations here. So here equal to 0, again AC is equal to BR, and here the operation will be performed again here, and addition subtraction will be done. So if it is addition, it will be goes to the end. If it is subtraction also, it will goes to the end. So if condition is not equal to 0, these operations will be performed. A less than B, A greater than B. If A less than B, the shift shift right to the A plus 1, shift right to the B plus 1. Okay. So the if conditions is this one, so OP. Okay. So here again the add subtraction will be performed. Here exclusive all operations will be taken. If equal to 0, here also equal to 0. Okay. Minus 1, minus 1. Okay. This is the conditions we are following. Okay. So this is the floating point addition and subtraction. So that is the algorithm flow chart, and this is the evaluation of the. This is the alignment, magnitude. This is mantissa addition or subtraction, and this is normalization. Okay. So this is the three parts will be occurred in this floating point addition and subtraction. So this is the multiplication, floating point multiplication. So what we are performing, multiplication will be performing, multiplicand and multiplier. BR is the multiplicand, QR is the multiplier. Okay. So in this BR means multiplicand. If multiplicand we are taking the condition, if it is 0, it will be moves to the AC, and AC it implies to 0. AC is implies to 0, and AC is implies to 0. It will be goes to the end position, end product in AC. And if it is not equal to 0, again it will goes to the multiplied. It will be multiplier. QR again equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, it will be end to the product in C is in C. If it is not equal to 0, we are performing some operation here. A is equal to Q, K plus B, and A is equal to A minus bias. So multiplying multiplying with the mantissa fixed point multiplication here, and here we are performing A1. If it is condition is 0, shift left AQ, A of A minus 1. If it is 1, end the product in AC. So this is the multiplication. Okay, next coming to division. So already we have discussed about this division. This is the BR divisor, AC is the dividend. Okay, if we are same as condition, we are taking 0 equals to 0, not equals to 0. If equal to 0, dividend by 0. If not equal to 0, our condition will be repeated again, and up to get the remainder 0. Okay. So this like A greater than B, A less than B, two conditions will be followed, and it will be divided magnitude of mantissa in a fixed point numbers. So this is the conditions followed in the floating point division. So next coming to the decimal arithmetic unit. So in this the digital functions that performs the digital micro operations, and can be added or subtract the decimal numbers, usually by forming the nines and tens complement of the subtraction. Subtract end. Okay, the unit accepts the code decimal numbers or generates the results in the same adapted binary code. Okay, so in this we having a single stage of decimal arithmetic unit consists of 9 binary input variables, 5 binary output variables. Since the minimum of 4 bits is required to represent each coded decimal digits, so each stage must have 4 inputs for the adjoint bits, adjoint bits, 4 inputs for addend addend bit digit and input carry and an input carry. So the output includes 4 terminals for the sum digit and 1 for the output carry. So this is the diagram, one cell of the decimal addition. So we are having the B0, B1, B1, B2, B3, B4. This is the M. BCD is binary, 9's complement. This is BCD adder. So this is the C. This is the single output carry, and this is we having 4 output terminals. We having 4 output terminals here, and 4 output terminals. How much input agent digits? 4 input agent and 4 agent. These 4 are input addend, 4 are agent. Okay, so these 4 are output 4 terminals, and this is the output carry, one output carry. Okay, so next one, decimal arithmetic operations. It is a symbolic designation and description. A of A plus B, I am performing addition, add decimal numbers and transfer sum into A. So after adding these two values, I am storing the value in the A, moving. So B bar means B's complement, 9's complement of B. Okay, so A of A implies A plus B bar plus 1. So content of A pluses to the 10's complement of B into A. So next QL of QL plus 1, incrementing the BCD number in QL. So DSHRA, decimal shift right register A and decimal shift left register A. So these are the two conditions. So this is called the decimal arithmetic operations we are having. So addition and subtraction in the decimal arithmetic operations. So we are having parallel decimal adder, digit serial bit parallel decimal addition, all serial addition decimal addition. So coming to parallel decimal adder. So what is the parallel decimal adder? We having BCD adder, BCD adder, BCD adder. For we having four input adder means we are using the agent and addend. Okay, so these are the agent and addend. These are the 4 output comes. This is the one carry. Okay, so this is one carry these are. Okay, so after performing the operations, our value will be 624 plus 829 is equal to total 1503. Okay, this is my output. So this is the parallel adder, parallel decimal adder. This is the digit serial bit parallel decimal addition. So this is BCD adder and having the sum value here. This is the carry. So this is the agenda A. This is the addend. So whenever I am performing these operations, that will be stored here. 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1. So whenever I am performing these two operations sum, so it will become 0 0 1 1. After these two, it will be get here. After these two, this will be get here. So this like, so these are the 4 agent and 4 addend. So these are the output 4 output 4 output lines. This is the carry. Okay, so this is the BCD adder. Here I am performing, after performing the sum value, it will be represented here. Okay, this is the working of this digital serial bit parallel decimal addition. So all serial decimal addition. So this is the agent and addend. These are representing in the serial fashion. So this is the FA, SC sequence counter, and this is the sum, this is the carry, and this is the correction. So whenever I am sending the value here, it performs some operations here. Okay, after some operations, it will be checked it is correct or not. If any correction are there, the correction will be occurred here, and if any after correction, if it get any carry moves to the value moves into the carry, and the carry will be perform some again some operations, and again it will be repeated until it get the 0, until it get the equal value. Okay, this is register for decimal arithmetic multiplication and division. So here we are performing multiplication and division both. Okay, so here we are having the sequence counter, and this is the BS and BE, and this is the E, the BCD arithmetic unit, and this is the AS. Here having the 10 power 0 1 2 3. Okay, here 10 power 1 0 0. This is the Q and this is the K, and this is the QL. Okay, so in this we are performing multiplication operations and division. Multiplication means if we are taking the two identical values that will be multiplied with each other. Division means I am performing the division operations until it get the repetition will be occur until it get remainder 0. Okay, or 1. Okay, this is the register for decimal arithmetic multiplication and division. So to accommodate overflow, adding the multiplicand and the partial product. So AE, B to perform the 9's complement to B of the divisor and subtracted from the partial remainder. Okay, so thank you. So thank you everyone. Up to here third unit is completed in CO. So in the next class we will discuss about the unit 4. Thank you everyone.